All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Glad you could join us. Sharp and Shapiro, Ron Futrell from Channel 8 in studio. Our guest, as he is every Tuesday. By the way, a reminder tomorrow, Jim Livengood, former UNLV athletic director, will be joining us. Coming up here in just about 25 minutes, exclusive interview with one of Marvin Menzies' former assistant coaches. We want to get his side of the story. Eric Brown, Coach Eric Brown, will be joining us, and Mark Anderson from the RJ at the bottom of the hour. So we got a jam-packed next 90 minutes of radio for you. We're still taking a few more calls on this Jussie Smollett situation. Then I want to get into Mr. Avenatti, as Fox News likes to call him, the creepy porn lawyer. He's in a lot of trouble, the creepy porn lawyer. Seems like he'll be watching creepy porn behind bars. So we'll get to that coming up here in just a few minutes. But why don't we take a few more calls from people that have been waiting very patiently on hold at 257-5396. Let's go to Peter. Peter, thanks for waiting on hold. How are you, Peter?
What's up, Peter?
Hey, guys. Thank you for having me on the show.
Sure.
First and foremost, I just want to apologize to that guy as well who keeps getting hung up on. But ultimately, I do feel like, this person is definitely taking advantage of a situation in America right now. I really don't believe that that's acceptable. I do believe that it's going to tarnish his reputation. It's going to be able to hold him back in life, unfortunately. But at the flip side of this, I do really feel like a lot of the callers that are calling in, they're focused on the demographic. Because, had this been a person of a different demographic, it probably would have been a lot less feedback and who's getting involved, who and where, and police this, and lawyers and mayors that.
Peter, I just want to be very clear with what you're saying. So you're saying because he's an African-American, you think that the media has treated him unfairly? I'm just trying. I don't want to paraphrase.
I just feel like I hear all your callers saying he's disgusting.
Well, he is.
Garbage.
I think he is.
He's a bad person.
Yeah.
Regardless of race,
on anybody.
he's disgusting.
So for you guys to have these callers,
Yeah.
all
right. Well, Peter, hold on.
Group,
I understand.
so they're not
Peter,
going to actually let the due process
all right,
go.
Peter, I understand.
And if it's due process on somebody else, they want it stopped immediately, or they have to.
I understand, Peter. Hang on. I understand what you're saying, Peter. Forget about the callers for a second. You're talking to J.D. Sharp, Ron Futrell, and Brian Shapiro. Let me be very clear. Okay, Smollett is disgusting. He's a dirtbag. He's a scumbag. He took advantage. He tried to take advantage of, the fact that he's a homosexual and that he's black, and he tried to take advantage of the fact that there are hate crimes out there. He is not a victim of hate crime, Peter. He made it up. How is that not disgusting? JD, go ahead. You were going to say something.
He's an instigator, Peter.
Yeah.
So say this is William Patrick Harris, who's in How I Met Your Mother, Doogie Howser. He's a gay Caucasian man. If this was him that did this, the outrage would be twice as aggressive.
Agreed.
I doubt it.
You understand,
I
Peter?
doubt it.
Okay.
I hear what you're saying, and I'm not going to disagree with you, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
I personally think a lot of your callers, and just kind of hearing the way they like to talk about people, they want to pass their own judgment.
Well, talk to me.
I definitely agree with you.
Yeah.
It's a very disgusting habit.
Peter, how do you not pass judgment on somebody trying to start a race war?
Yeah. How do you not do that without starting a race war?
No. How do you not pass judgment on somebody?
You educate people. You call out racism when it is racism.
But exactly. Well, Jussie, I understand, Peter, and listen, I appreciate the call. Thank you very much. That's exactly the opposite of what Jussie Smollett did. He wasn't doing that, okay? He tried to make himself the victim when he is a felon, as far as I'm concerned. He is a horrible human being for even thinking of doing so. And by the way, can we all agree on this? Jussie Smollett didn't do this to help the people out there that are African Americans or that are homosexuals. Guess why Jussie Smollett did this? He did this for himself because he is a selfish piece of garbage.
He wanted to not get caught, and he wanted to be a champion for these people.
He was complaining that he wasn't making enough money on that stupid Empire show.
He was using these people to increase his salary.
Yeah, the poor baby wasn't making enough money, so what did he do? He tried to make it seem like, he was the victim of a hate crime so he could make more money.
He was so delusional that even after all the evidence was stacked against him, he still stayed consistent to his story. So he's, at a minimum, an absolute sociopath.
Hey, this is Ron here. Just wanted to let you guys know. I don't think it had anything. I know he never even said it. You heard it through the police chief. The police chief said that he did it for money. I still don't believe he did it for money. I believe he did it because he's from an activist family. That was rewarded, and we see the rewards now.
Could be. But I'm also saying I think he did it because he had been complaining about not getting enough money for some of the jobs he's gotten. I'm just saying all the above.
And
Could be all the
is
above.
it possible that he's connected to certain people?
Yeah.
on the upper
Absolutely.
side of politics,
Absolutely.
like the Obamas,
Yeah.
like Soros. Absolutely, that
Sure.
is possible.
Sure. 257-5396. Okay, the next caller doesn't want to give his or her name, so I'm going to call this caller Mr. X. Mr. X, thank you for calling into the Vegas Take. How are you? Hello, Mr. X. Are you there?
Mr. X.
Well, that's what happens when you don't want to give your name on a radio show. Sometimes, you get disconnected. Let's go to
very mysterious.
Yeah, let's go to Steven. Steven, thanks for calling in. How are you?
Hi, Steven.
Hey, good evening, Ron and Brian.
How are you?
Ron, I haven't had a chance to talk to you.
Howdy.
I wanted to throw in one thing. I'm the gentleman that sent you the emails on the negotiating with the Raiders.
Oh, yes. Thank
I know
you.
one of the things I wanted was free tickets for some of the locals for putting up with the extra traffic, and I would have held out for some type of ownership when his family gets done with.
Good luck with that.
Something.
Good luck. I'll be rooting for you.
We didn't get it on. I apologize to you people out there. I got in touch with Ron too late, and somebody
That's
else
quite all right, Steve. Hey, Steve, do you have an opinion when it comes to Jussie Smollett?
I sure do.
Go ahead.
Brian, I don't know if you'll believe this or not, but I agree with you.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But he's good. But he's exhibited the fact that he'll do anything.
Right.
Imagine he's going to be elected to Congress.
Okay, political aspirations. Good point, Mr. X.
I think we that was Stephen.
No, come on, Stephen. That was Stephen. Okay.
I think his phone dropped up. I think he was on an Obama phone.
He sort of said political aspirations for him in the future. Well, now we know his name.
Yes, that's good.
And if some of the idiots I saw got elected during the last election got in there, in Chicago,
and it's not Jesse, it's Jussie.
Jussie. 257-5396, the number to call, 702-257-5396. Let's go to Seth. Seth, thanks for calling in. How are you?
What's up, Seth?
I'm doing good. Thank you. I just want to say Jussie Smollett has the world's most punchable face. I mean, to watch him this morning just blatantly lie, I've never seen anyone so cold and so arrogant. Arrogant.
I can't wait for Robin Roberts to bring him back on again.
What is he good at, too, by the way?
I want someone to ask him a question and say, why did you say they were white? There's no way that you could have mistaken those Nigerian brothers for being white.
Well, no,
that's the fact that he lied. That part right there.
Jussie Smollett is a racist. That's why. He's a racist.
And two, we know it's Nigerian brothers, so you obviously would have known their voices, so there's no way you can explain that. And three, what's going to happen to the Nigerian brothers? Are they going to get arrested now? Who is going to go down for this?
They were already arrested, and my understanding is because they cooperated, they let them go. That's a very valid point. That would be
now that they dropped Jesse's charges, the cooperating isn't really going to make much of a difference anyway.
Well, you know what? I wish those two were still in jail. I wish they were in jail. If those two were still in jail, Smollett would be going to jail. I guarantee you.
This is BS. Everyone gets away with this. This is ridiculous.
It is completely ridiculous. I couldn't agree with you more. And when you listen to what Smollett said today, the lying just oozing out of his mouth. It's just a load of crap.
If I were representing the Nigerian brothers, here's what I would do. I would say you will go to Jussie Smollett or whoever his backers are. Let's say they're the Obamas or powerful people in Chicago. You will go to them and ask for a big 20 mil, 30 mil.
And they'll get it.
Either that or you you spill. You go on 60 Minutes. You go on 2020. You go on Good Morning America. You go on CBS. You go all over the place and tell exactly what happened without a big. If I were representing those two Nigerian brothers,
that's what Michael Avenatti tried to do.
I would do that in a heartbeat. Yeah, with Nike. With Nike.
Thank you. Appreciate the call, Seth.
But
Thank
he
you.
would get. But the Nigerian brothers would get the money because nobody would rat that one out.
Absolutely.
257-5396, the number to call, 702-257-5396. And by the way, if you have been paying attention to the news, you know in the last 48 hours, as Fox News likes to call this man, the creepy porn lawyer, Michael Avenatti. Well, apparently he's in a lot of trouble, okay? Have you heard about this story? Jeffrey Berman, U.S. Attorney of the Southern District of New York, laying out a timeline for Michael Avenatti, what he did with this extortion scheme that involves Nike. It began on March 19th. So this is very recent, guys, right? This happened just several days ago. He has a meeting with Nike. Avenatti claiming that he had a client who had information about potential misconduct by the company. He threatened to hold a news conference at which he would have been, the allegations would have been made public. And then he had another meeting with Nike the following day, continuing to what Berman described as graphic threats in regards to, paying off certain schools, certain players, that sort of stuff with their Nike emblem, of course, and so on and so forth. And now we're also learning that Mark Garagos might be involved. He has been labeled as a co-conspirator, referred to by the Southern District of New York criminals complaint against Michael Avenatti. This is a serious case. It's not going away. Believe it or not, Avenatti could be getting up to 50 years behind bars. Here's what I say about this, okay? If you're an attorney and you're supposed to be a fairly intelligent person, you're supposed to represent clients, you're supposed to be doing a good job. You're supposed to be a somewhat intelligent individual. When you walk into a company or anywhere and you threaten somebody and you have several meetings, not just one, and you try to extort money out of them for the information that you may or may not have, how can Michael Avenatti walk into a meeting like that and expect that this wasn't going to be played out like this, and someone in the room assume that they weren't recording this? That's what I don't understand. This is unbelievable.
I think it's a combination of him being on some type of very, very hardcore drugs and his ego just being huge after what's happened last year. He thought he was above the law.
He was running for president, wasn't he? The Democrats had him running. He was there. Hey,
That's
he was
not
the big
true.
No,
yes.
it is true.
It is true.
He went from being
None
a
of the
little
big
known,
Democrats were supporting this guy. That's not true.
California lawyer to suddenly talking about running for president in less than 6 months.
Name me one top Democrat that supported this guy.
CNN.
No,
They're all
that
Democrats.
wasn't my
CNN,
question.
And they all
give me one prominent Democrat that said, I support Michael Avenatti for president. You can't.
Jeff Zucker, the Democrats at CNN. The Democrats that run CNN
the point I'm trying to make
he
is
was
that was
running for president, and they had him out there.
That doesn't mean they supported him. That just means they were reporting the news. He said he was going to run for president.
They were making the news.
The point I'm trying to make is there's not one reputable Democrat in office that was supporting this guy. Look.
Oh, well, they don't support each other. There's not one that supports.
But Brian, he thought highly enough of himself to talk about running for president.
Because he has an ego, because he's a moron.
Exactly.
That's why.
And that's why he thought he could do what he did today.
Right. He's a moron. He's going to go to jail. And I truly believe if he didn't get his name out there in representing Stormy Daniels, I'm not quite sure he would have gotten caught here.
I don't know.
This stuff happens all the time, I think.
I wonder if he sucks Garagos into this, because Garagos, interesting thing from Garagos is that he has no comment on this thing. And Garagos likes to comment. Garagos is a guy that likes to talk.
He's being so quiet here,
and
isn't
so
he?
Garagos' silence is so. And I like Mark. I say I like Mark Garagos. I mean, he represented Scott Peterson, Michael Jackson. Let's go down the list. But he's an interesting dude, and sometimes I even agree with him on some of the stuff he says. But that being said, Garagos being quiet here is revolutionary, folks. That is
I do
unheard
think
of.
I'm guessing that Avenatti actually has some decent evidence, because this was taken care of pretty quickly.
I have no doubt.
I'm pretty sure that something has been going on for a long time.
I have no doubt.
And a lot of the major programs are involved, and he knows what's going on.
When you mess with a big company like Nike,
exactly,
you're probably going to go down.
Especially the day after the Sweet 16.
Yeah,
was finalized.
I have no doubt that what Avenatti was presenting is the truth.
And it would have been a real big problem for the NCAA.
And I think it still will be.
And if you've noticed, the ratings are the highest since 1991 right now.
I think a lot of that also has to do with gambling.
That's exactly why.
Yeah.
Adam Silver goes on 60 Minutes last week and says, and I quote, "There is empirical data that proves that when you watch, or that when you have money on a game, regardless of the sport, you are more involved in watching that game."
Well, yeah, that's obvious.
Absolutely.
Of course.
But he actually stated that.
Obvious to us, but it was shocking for me. I thought the same
nuts.
thing. I dropped. I fell to the floor in my living room as I heard that. I said, "Are you kidding me?" An NBA owner actually, in this case, a commissioner told the truth about gambling in sports.
Right.
What?
Adam Silver is a fantastic commissioner.
Oh, he is. And the players like him a lot, too.
He's no David Stern.
So it's funny
He's no David.
It's funny you mentioned that. You mentioned the segue to college basketball, because we are now learning from very reputable sources. I'm talking very reputable sources, including John Rothstein, who does a great job for CBS, that in all likelihood, we have a new UNLV basketball coach. And guess what? It might not be a household name, and it might not be Mike Miller. A guy by the name of T.J. Otzelberger. Yes, that's right, T.J. Otzelberger.
Spell it?
I'm not going to spell it. It'll take half the show to spell that. T.J. Otzelberger from South Dakota State.
Ooh.
Let me tell you guys something.
South Dakota State.
When you got a guy like Mike Miller and Ryan Miller, and you choose a guy like T.J. Otzelberger, I don't care how many games he won in his conference at South Dakota State. I don't care. We're talking about filling seats in the stands at the Thomas and Mack Center. This isn't just about winning. And by the way, I'm not so sure he's the right guy for the job. In fact, I'll say it right now. I I'm going to, I'll root for the guy. I want him to succeed here if he's hired. But I'm just saying on the record right now, the third coach, and it's so, assuming he gets this job, I didn't support Dave Rice. I said it wasn't going to work out. When they hired Marvin Menzies, I said he was the wrong guy for the job. And here I am again. Do you know how, Ron, you've been in this town a long time, as have I. I want a coach that I could get behind, man.
Find the person with a voodoo doll. That's what I'm telling you. There's a voodoo doll somewhere they're poking the pins into it right now. It's probably a number 4 Larry Johnson voodoo doll. and we need to find that voodoo doll because no matter what they get as a coach here, I would prefer TJ Lavin, who is a dirt bike racer here in town, 2-time gold medalist, a buddy of mine. I'd prefer TJ Lavin as the UNLV basketball coach.
I would prefer TJ Cloutier.
TJ
Poker player, yeah. Is he still alive, TJ Cloutier?
Let me see. Can I see the spelling on his name? Do you have it?
I'll spell out his name for you. Otzelberger. Otzelberger.
Otzelberger. Okay, that makes
Is that German? What is that?
I don't know.
I think it's about as German as you can get.
We're going from New Mexico State to South Dakota State. I don't know. Is that a step up?
No,
it's
not.
But it's barely. Anyway.
Well,
what's their mascot? South Dakota State.
I don't know.
They are the fighting.
This is what I told people on social media. I told people that just about any coach out there would be a better coach than what we've had. That's just my opinion. And you know what? Eric Brown is coming up here in just a few minutes. He's Marvin Menzies' former assistant.
Great timing for that.
Yeah, I mean, Eric, we spoke, and I appreciate the fact that he's going to be coming on, and I look forward to hearing what he has to say. But with that being said, Otzelberger? Is this the answer to UNLV athletics and UNLV basketball?
You already have people on our Twitter page, on the Vegas Take Twitter page, saying they will not renew their season tickets if this guy's head coach. And we saw how many were actually.
And by the way, those are the few that actually have season tickets.
So is there going to be less than 1,000 in an 18,000 person arena?
I don't know.
That's just an embarrassment for a program that 30 years ago won a national championship.
Yeah, this is not a good spot. Ron,
looks like a jackrabbit or something. I'm trying to find their mascot, South Dakota
Ron,
State.
Pay attention.
I think no, that is attention.
You've been doing this a long time. You've been covering UNLV hoops since they were winning national championships. Okay.
Yes.
Be honest.
Yes.
When you hear about this name being the next UNLV coach, that has to bother you a little bit.
I thought the same thing with Marvin Menzies, that we went to New Mexico State, to get a coach. I thought New Mexico State, back when Neil McCarthy was the coach here, and they were playing UNLV and beating UNLV back when Neil McCarthy was a great coach there. I thought, okay, Las Cruces, are you kidding me? Now we're going there to try to get a coach. Yeah. How far the mighty have fallen, and I get that. I know it's fallen for years. It's fallen for 3 decades. It's fallen, but
Vegas is the next major sports market in the United States of America.
Yes, and it was, and the fact that I know how this was planned, this destruction was planned and organized and put together, but media silence kept a lot of it going. And there was a handful of people at the university that made this happen to this basketball program. That bothered me. As long as I live, it will still bother me.
And I agree with you. We're up against a break here, but I spoke with Mike Miller through text earlier today. I spoke with Ryan Miller on the phone today. Those guys are ready for this job. They're ready to go. That would pump up this city, man. It would work.
You know what? This is an AD trying to save her own butt because this is a stop for her. This is not her final landing point, and she knows that. And it's going to absolutely hurt the program in the process. Yeah. She's just thinking about herself right now.
Yeah, she wants a coach dedicated and devoted to her.
Exactly.
More than because what Mike Miller and Ryan Miller bring here is their own power base.
Yeah.
Okay, which is a good thing. For us. What Kevin Kruger would bring here is his own power base, independent of the athletic director, which is a good thing for the community. But she wants somebody that is connected solely 100% devoted to her. Power is more important sometimes than success, folks.
She wants to show her next job that she won't make that risky hire, that she'll make that conservative, smart hire.
Yeah, well, I think it's the wrong hire. Let's put it that way. Speaking of people getting, losing their job and hirings and all this stuff, coming up next, an exclusive interview with Marvin Menzies' former assistant coach, Eric Brown. He's joining us next. We'll talk to him. Plenty of questions for Eric Brown. Coming up next on the Vegas Take on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDWN.